We're back with Miguel. So you were talking about the business and we, just building your empire and coming up and getting your visibility out there. And we know it's not just about designing clothes, but it's also a business. And that's the good thing to keeping you. How do you stay ahead of the curve in this ever-changing environment?
Yeah, so, I think early on when we first started, where we didn't know a lot, we were very focused on, what the future would be.
Okay.
And so when I started the business in 2008, the first thing I asked myself was, what will fashion look like in 2020?
Right.
And I really, even in writing the business plan, that was just my thought process. And so since starting the company in 2008, that's all we've invested in, 2020.
Wow.
And we've just along the way pivoted and, made sure that we were on course of what, we predicted and what we think is going to be year 2020. And so I think that's, we always stay ahead of the curve. We've always been ahead of the curve just in principle and in our practice.
Okay.
But then also, just in the nature of fashion is we're always working a year and a half in advance in design, so you're always in the mindset of what tomorrow is going to be.
Right.
And so, from the perspective of the consumer, you don't really get a chance to see that because you see it at the moment that it's hot outside or it's cold outside. But we've been working on your future wardrobe, for about a year and a half.
I know.
Developing textiles, and so we are, not only just a fashion company. We're internet first. We're very focus on e-commerce and the internet landscape, and we just believe that's going to be the future. And so our mindset is to constantly innovate, and so our studio is constantly innovating all the time. It's in a reciprocal nature of innovating, and that's how we try to stay ahead of what's happening out there.
Because I can imagine social media changed the game with fashion. You can go online, you can sell on Instagram, you can sell, in all these sites like Etsy and all these other places. Has that affected your business, or has it just changed it from instead of more of a brick and mortar and people coming in the door, they're going online to shop? Have you seen that, or where is that right now currently for you?
Yeah, no, I think, a lot of businesses like mine would not exist today without the internet, without social media. And because we started investing so early on in this day when it arrived that we were ready. And, we're even beyond social media at this point in our thinking of what will be next. And so social media is a blessing to anyone starting a business, big or small today.
Oh, yeah. You have a store in Soho. It's 5,000 square feet. That's an anomaly in itself. Black designer, you work there, you design there, you have your store there. How did all that come about, and why did you choose Soho and not, let's say, the West Village or Madison Avenue? How did that come about?
Yeah, when we started thinking about retail spaces, and I can't remember why we started thinking about retail spaces. And I say we because there's a team that, my team in-house who, I trust, and, I run everything by them. It's an open platform where we discuss ideas. So when we started thinking about the store, I just felt as though it was the right opportunity. Soho, particularly where we are in Soho, was, no one was in the neighborhood at the time. And I was like, wow, this is an opportunity. Rents are really cheap. This is unheard of in Manhattan. We can have a studio space, and we can take 2 floors and have a studio space there. I was thinking about it, trying to be financially responsible. I didn't want this huge rent hanging over our head. I wanted to be able to have a studio very close by, and just the opportunity presented itself. And everyone told me, no, don't move there, don't move there. That's no one shopping in that neighborhood. And now it's just built up around us. Yes. And so it just was a little bit of just keeping our ear to the ground and seeing what was happening in the retail landscape and taking advantage of an opportunity.
How many designers do you have working for you?
I'm the principal designer, and in full time I have 1 assistant designer, but we take in designers, interns throughout the summer and fall months. Yeah.
Okay. For someone who's coming into the fashion industry, or someone who is a fashion designer, what advice do you give them? What advice did you, somebody who's struggling, trying to make it? Because there's a lot of designers in New York City. So what advice would you give somebody today that's coming up into the game?
Yeah, so any fashion designers that's struggling, I get a lot of phone calls from students, even well-established designers that have been working for themselves for a while, and because I've struggled too. And what I always say is to just ask yourself very, very hard questions, and seek out your trusted advisors, and know that those trusted advisors may not be people in your same industry or may not be people in your same household. Trust out people that are going to tell you the truth. People that are going to look at what you're doing and tell you the truth. And then from there, pause. Take a break. Don't quit. Take a break. Reassess. And it's just amazing how your brain works for you, how your brain serves you when you feed it the right tools. So those friends and trusted advisors that will give you the facts, and looking yourself in the mirror and saying, who are you, and then pausing so that you can listen to that.
Right.
And that's just my primary advice.
Okay. What's new for you? What's next? What's happening?
Yeah, so I opened a very small design studio in Hong Kong.
Okay.
I love Hong Kong. What's next for us is really building out our business, expanding beyond New York City, expanding beyond, because our major markets in the U.S. are Los Angeles, New York, then Los Angeles, Atlanta, Miami, Houston, Dallas.
Okay.
So expanding beyond those metropolitan areas in the States and seeing where we can get a foothold in other places.
Okay. Now, are you in, what stores are you in those other
We're
cities?
direct to consumer. We bypass the retailer to go direct to consumer.
Oh, okay.
And so our mindset and the plan that we're working on now is we will establish and open virtual boutiques in every major market of which we see that there's an opportunity. So if you're in Los Angeles and you go to our website, the website's local to you. If you're in Atlanta, it's local to you based upon the experience and the culture in those cities. Very true and intrinsic to our New York DNA. But what are people excited about in Los Angeles? Where are they hanging out? Where are they going to eat brunch? What types? The weather's different there than it is here in New York City. So you shouldn't log on in Los Angeles and see coats.
Right.
You should see weather appropriate materials.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was hiring designers and hiring merchandisers. Who we hire now, we hire software developers and engineers and people who understand artificial intelligence or virtual reality, because there has to be that distant component that people can have that really tangible feel for what the brand is in those spaces without actually touching the product.
Okay. As a designer, how do you describe your style, your aesthetic?
Yeah, so
your look.
Yeah, so our aesthetic is composed of two things. It's essential, but it's also luxury. So it's your everyday wardrobe, and also the luxury aspects of that wardrobe. So from day to night, you can find something from Miguel Antoinne. We're very keen on fine lines and tailoring, meticulous attention to detail and quality. If you look close, there's always something there that's special. We don't compromise on fabrics whatsoever. It's that modern guy who knows who he is, and is not afraid to step into that presence.
Okay. Where do you source your materials from?
Yeah, so I will go to the deepest cave to find the person doing the finest handwork, all over the world. Most of our fabrics come from Italy and Japan. Some of the very luxurious fabrics from Italy and France, and then the more technically advanced fabrics from Japan.
Okay. And why do you think Japanese have? Why do they do it so well?
I just think that they're just incredibly disciplined. There's a meticulous attention to detail and no sacrifice on quality whatsoever. And I just think it's the culture, and anywhere from the way they lay out a BLT sandwich.
Right.
I mean, there's just that precision that and that they take care in everything they do.
Okay. Do you see yourself expanding to ladies, women's fashion, or are you strictly staying on there? Because there's not a lot of men designers.
Sure.
And especially African American. And women buy more clothes than men. So is that, when you look at your business model, is that something to consider? Or you just say, what, I'm overdoing the dresses when I did the dresses back then?
I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry. No. You know, I'm really focused on our guys.
Okay.
I really am. And it's interesting because a lot of women come in and they buy our leather jackets in an extra small or an extra small. You know, so, but no.
Okay. If you had to give yourself advice today from when you were growing up, what would that advice be?
Wow. If I had to give myself advice when I was a teenager, I would say re-educate yourself. You know.
Okay.
I would say learn about your history, learn about the history of this country, understand financial literacy,
Right.
very early on, and be okay with who you are.
Okay.
Yeah, don't take too long to figure that out.
Don't take too long to figure. I like that one. I like the answer. So how do you love the way you live?
You know, Bill Gates once said, I read a commencement speech that Bill Gates once gave, where he said that he measures his happy by whether the people close to him are happy. And he measures his happy by whether the people close to him are happy and love him, and by the difference he makes in people's lives. Okay. And so when I look around, you know, I look at my family, I look at my friends, I look at my loved ones, and I can see, you know, them enjoying life. That's fruitful to me. I walk into my office and I can see my team smiling bigger than me. That's fruitful to me. And so, you know, getting up and being able to do what I want to do every day, you know, that's like the epitome of like loving the way I live. Yeah.
Okay. We want to thank Miguel Antoinne for coming in today. Thank you, Miguel. You'll be able to find all of Miguel's social media handles at lovethewayyouliveny.com. And until next time, celebrate life and continue to love the way you live.